Now, Pakistan captain Shahid Afridi might have landed himself in trouble yet again while speaking about fans in India. Asked about fans in Mohali before their match with New Zealand on Tuesday, Pakistan captain said that there are a lot of fans there for them, including people from Kashmir. A comment that has not gone down too well with people, especially politicians in India. However, some fans were also seen holding banners saying "With love for Kashmir" during the match. Remember earlier, Afridi was lambasted back home for saying that their team got more love in India than in Pakistan. Listen into reactions on Afridi's comments that have stirred the pot. Meanwhile, the BCCI has slammed the Pakistani skipper for his comments. Both Secretary Anurag Thakur has called his comments politically incorrect. Shivani Gupta and Boria Majumdar are now both joining us on this bit of news. Shivani, Shahid Afridi seems to have a way with controversies.
That's right. Twice now, in a very short period of time, Maha, in India, he's landed himself in a sort of a soup. First, back home for saying he got more love here in India than in Pakistan. And he was absolutely hammered back home in Pakistan for that. And now for saying that Kashmiri fans in India are supporting the Pakistan team as well. A comment that obviously is not going to go down very well with the Indian establishment or the Indian political circles. Because, Maha, as you are very well aware, this is a very sensitive issue.
Absolutely.
So much drama happened before the Pakistan team was even coming to India. They couldn't play in Dharamsala because of local opposition, because of politics on the issue of Pakistan, because of the issue of terror attacks from emanating from Pakistan. So this is a very, very sensitive issue. Does the Pakistan team enjoy support in India? They do. And a lot of other teams do too. Do they have support in Kashmir? True, they do. But for a sports person to bring this up on the field of play, perhaps not very wise decision from Afridi, because he's aware that this is a very, very political issue.
Boria, I want to come to you now. You know, with some Kashmiri students have already been in trouble because of sometimes allegedly supporting Pakistan teams during matches that have been played out within the confines of their universities and hostels while they were watching it on television. Do you think this off-the-cuff remark that has been made by Afridi is actually politically incorrect? Maybe he should have been a little more careful.
Of course it is politically incorrect. I mean, you don't have any business to try and politicize sport on the field of play. That's what has happened here. I mean, who supports who is an absolutely individual preference and opinion. Neither you nor I or anybody for that matter will have any say on that. But for a Pakistani captain who is an ambassador in India, leading out his team on the field of play to say, I have fans in this province, when that province, when that state is, it is a subject of political controversy, is extremely politically incorrect. This will inflame passions. It will result in deteriorating relations. There is no point. I mean, the Pakistan team has come here to do a job, and the job is to play cricket. There is no reason to politicize this at all, and that's what Shahid Afridi has done.
Okay.
I don't think he meant it, but oftentimes inadvertent comments like this result in serious trouble, and that's what will happen to Afridi.
All right, let's also get in a sense from social activist Khurram Parvez, who's joining us on the phone line now. Khurram, do you think that this sort of a politically incorrect statement by a sports person at this juncture, where we've already seen a lot of ups and downs before the Pakistan team came to India to play the World T20, was completely unwarranted?
I don't agree with that, because I think very clearly the Indian government, the Indian political parties have been politicizing sports in last many years. I mean, if they expect the Indian team not to play with Pakistan, the Indian team not to have match with Pakistan in Dharamshala, was it not politicization? Was it not only sports then? Why was everyone rallying behind at that point of time for cancellation of match in Dharamshala? Or even if you see in the past when IPL was being played and Pakistani players had to be hired for that, and it was every political party in India which was saying that let's actually do it politically in such a way where we don't get Pakistani players hired. But when it's just about sports, when it's just about
the question I want to particularly ask you is that politicians do end up politicizing issues, but is it wise of a sports person to himself politicize an issue?
Unwise of you. If you're saying that this is not wisdom, what wisdom we are talking about? You're saying that Indians and Indian people and Indian political parties have monopoly over wisdom.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying politicians perhaps, I expected to politicize issues, but that's not expected of sports persons because sports are supposed to bring people together.
But he has not said anything against India. He has just said, acknowledged the support of Kashmiris. And that's something which is very visible in Kashmir. You can come to Kashmir and see how visibly Kashmiris, everyone would come out and support Pakistani team. Why is India so reluctant to have India-Pakistan match not in Kashmir? Let's see who supports who here.
Okay, Khurram. Many thanks for joining us on this broadcast. Let me go across to Shaina NC of the BJP now. Shaina, you just heard one of the social activists, Khurram Parvez, they're talking about what Afridi has said is perhaps not unwarranted in his view. But, India and especially the BCCI has spoken out against it. Anurag Thakur said it was completely unwarranted. Shaina, are you there with us? All right, we seem to have lost our link there with Shaina. We'll try and reconnect with her in just a bit. Shivani, I want to come back to you now. If you just heard what Khurram Parvez there said, that, there is a sizable population which does support the Pakistan team for whatever reasons. But the fact that Shahid Afridi would have said something like that, knowing that the issue is very sensitive, something that he should be perhaps be pulled up for by the PCB. Is the PCB likely to do that since this is the second time he's landing in a controversy?
I doubt that the PCB is going to act on this, at least publicly, because that's also, again, not going to be a very politically correct statement for them back home. Remember, PCB is very much inclined and connected to the Pak government, and they're not going to lambast their captain for something that perhaps helps them politically. But Maha, it's important here to digress or to divide two issues. India-Pakistan bilateral issue is a very different issue that Mr. Khurram was talking about here. That is a very big issue. That is not an ordinary issue about fan support in India, and that is not to be confused with fan support in India. We have said here on India Today repeatedly, when Afridi landed in trouble earlier also, that India also receives a lot of support in Pakistan. That's the love for sport.
Shivani,
that has nothing to do with bilateral
I'll just
series.
interrupt you there briefly because we have to go across to Shaina NC of the BJP. Shaina, how would you react to the statement made by Shahid Afridi? The BCCI has already come out and said that it was completely unwarranted.
Sorry, you'll have to repeat that.
Shaina, how would you react to the statement of Shahid Afridi? The BCCI has already said that it was unnecessary for Shahid Afridi to have made a comment of this nature which was politically incorrect. Shaina, are you there with us? All right, we seem to be having some sort of trouble while connecting with Shaina. We'll try and reconnect once more. Let me go back to Shivani because Shivani was trying to make a very important point there. Shivani, go ahead.
Yes, Maha, just to reiterate, the issue of the bilateral series is a very different issue than the Kashmir issue. You have to understand the difference between this. It's not like there is a blanket opposition to bilateral cricket, but there has to be some understanding of the conditions. Of course, bilateral cricket was on the cards. The boards on both sides were keen on it, but there have been attacks in India. So can the Indian government ignore that and go ahead? Of course, that is debatable. But this issue of Kashmir is a very different issue. Nobody is denying that there is support for Pakistan team in Kashmir or even otherwise in India. When Pakistan and Bangladesh played the match in Kolkata before their match against India, actually majority of the crowds in Kolkata surprisingly were backing Pakistan. They're an exciting team. They're a good team to support. But for Shahid Afridi, perhaps this was more about getting carried away with what he wanted to say. Maybe he met a few Kashmiris who, gave him their support while in Mohali. But to single out people from Kashmir, perhaps not a very wise thing for him to do. The fact that he has applauded Indian fans who have supported the Pakistan team is, of course, extremely welcome. In fact, would you then say that it was wrong for Pakistan back home to criticize Afridi? That has to be true then too. So these are very complex issues and sensitive issues. Nobody can stop Afridi from saying that Kashmiris have backed the Pakistan team. Is that the wisest thing to do? That's debatable.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, Shivani, we are getting reactions thick and fast. Let's cut across to some of them.
After the humiliating defeat by India in Kolkata in a T20 World Cup match, the Pakistani cricket team captain Afridi and his colleagues are getting live threats and warnings from the Pakistani cricket supporters. And by way of that, he has just diverted their concentration from cricket to the Kashmir diplomacy, and this is unacceptable, unbearable.
All right, we have reconnected with BJP leader Shaina NC. Let me go across to her. Shaina, you know, I wanted your reaction to what Shahid Afridi has said.
First and foremost, I think a sports star should stay a sports star. On the one hand, he knows that he's retiring, and that's why he chooses to be a great political commentator. And what type of commentary is this? Shouldn't a sportsman just be talking about sport, talking about the game, and why Pakistan has lost or why India has won or vice versa, an analysis on that? To suggest that the separatists are for Pakistan and to...
All right, we've lost the link there with Shaina NC once again. Let me go across to former cricketer Madan Lal. Sir, I want your comments on how you view what Shahid Afridi has said. He's made a political comment which is being viewed as politically incorrect in India. Do you think that sportspersons should stay away from making points or comments of this nature completely?
I think he's totally wrong, you know, like being a captain of the Pakistan team, a responsible person. If he behaves like that, I think it's not right, you know, like he's just here to play cricket and not to say something about any political sort of comments, you know. But, you know, like that's what they are, you know, like they doesn't think before saying anything. So, you know, it depends on how you think about it, or what sort of education you have, you know. So that's the problem with them, you know. Look at their team is also the same, the result is also the same, you know. They should only concentrate on the game, that's all, end of the story, you know.
Right. Mr. Madan Lal, you know, in scenarios like these, when cricketers or any sports person makes comments which are political in nature, is the correct way of dealing with them as far as their own country is concerned, in this case as far as PCB is concerned? Now, our correspondent of course rightly was mentioning that publicly the PCB might not say anything because you know, it would go against what Pakistan really stands for on the issue of Kashmir. But should sports persons be pulled up for comments of these nature?
Definitely he should be pulled up, you know. He should be pulled up by the BCCI first, then BCCI tell the PCB that they should pull him up also. Because they should, he must apologize all these things, you know, whatever he's saying, you know.
Okay.
It's not the way you behave like this, you know. I don't agree with the sportsman and, you know, saying anything about political things. You know?
Okay.
So
okay.
That's a problem with them.
All right. Mr. Madan Lal, many thanks for speaking with India Today. So you have one more viewpoint where a former cricketer says that it's not just the PCB but the BCCI should also make its disapproval of such comments very clear. Anurag Thakur has already spoken on the issue, but an apology is also warranted according to some of the former cricketers. Let's quickly listen in to the first controversy that Shahid Afridi landed into after coming to India, where he said that he gets more support from Indians rather than from his Pakistani fans.
जो डिसीजन लेती है स्टेट, हम उसके पीछे ही होते हैं, जो भी डिसीजन होता है, इसलिए कि हम क्रिकेटर्स हैं, हम कोई पॉलिटिशियन तो है नहीं। और जहां तक क्रिकेट का ताल्लुक है, जिस तरह मैंने कहा कि इंडिया में हमने हमेशा क्रिकेट को बहुत एंजॉय किया, यहाँ के लोगों से बहुत प्यार मिला, इतना प्यार हमें पाकिस्तान में भी नहीं मिला, ये भी मैं आपको बता दूं, जितना प्यार हमें यहाँ मिला है।
Rahul Mehdi of the National Conference is also joining us on the phone line. Your comments, sir, first of all, to this, to the comments that have been made by Shahid Afridi.
I don't find anything bad in that comment. I don't think much should be read into that comment. It was a pure comment from a sports person who felt that he gets a sport in a country. That's what he expressed. There's no politics in it, and we should not add politics.
So we are talking about the second comment that he's made, saying that he gets, he has a lot of Kashmiri fans.
They were playing the match the other day against Bangladesh in Kolkata, and the people of Kolkata turned up in support of Pakistan. So did we read too much into that? There would have been few supporters. You would have find out that a few supporters in that stadium in the Mohali cricket match were supporting him. That's what he expressed. I don't think there's a scope for politics in this. We have supports for our own national team. We support these sportsmen from other nationalities. It should be left beyond politics, and I don't think it has any scope for politics.
All right, sir. Do stay on with us. We also have with us on the phone line Ravinder Rana of the BJP. Mr. Rana, if you just heard what Rahul Mehdi said about about sports being left alone, and that not too much should be read into what Shahid Afridi said. Do you agree with him?
No, not at all. Not at all. Every time Pakistani is playing foul in Kashmir Valley, and now their players, how a team captain of a nation who's visiting, who's a guest in India, so while he on an international tournament and made in such an irresponsible comment, not at all. See, it should have been seen last night when Afridi said so, and there were Pakistani flags placed in Kashmir midnight by Hurriyat Conference, and today Abdul Basit, one of Pakistani ambassador, has convened a meeting where separatists are invited. Pakistan, every time playing foul in Kashmir, he is creating mess and chaos in Kashmir Valley. As Mr. Afridi, no doubt, after humiliating defeat and biting dust in Kolkata from the hands of Indian cricket players in T20 International, Pakistani cricketers are getting warnings and threats from Pakistani supporters, and to divert their concentration, he made such a comment. But on the other hand, our union government and especially the Foreign Affairs Ministry should take cognizance of it and should talk to the Pakistani Foreign Affairs that players should not be indulged in such an activities.
All right.
Warning should be issued.
Okay, Ravinder Rana and Rahul Mehdi, many thanks for speaking with India Today. Also, thanks to Shivani Gupta for joining us on that.
Emergency services, metro stations, metro services have come to a standstill. The airport is now shut. Train services have come to a standstill. There's a lockdown across Brussels now, Simi.
Complete